Edition on the Meriboye Show, we are reviewing a video of a reported assault of one Mrs. Pius. I just showed you the video. Of course, I guess the video is okay, but please kindly permit me to replay the video again so that I can make my contributions accordingly. Please enjoy.
Hello people, my name is Ifeanyi. I'm a doctor. I've been married to this man, Pius Ambo of Channels Television for 6 years. And for 6 years, I've known no peace in this marriage. It's been from one woman to another. Sleeps from one woman. Just had a baby. It was a cesarean section just about 4 weeks ago. Just because I told him to spend wisely and not spend on women so recklessly, considering that we have 4 children and these children have to be trained. That's why I got this beating. Tried to strangle me and all that. Sat on my incision and everything. The children were crying. And I was pregnant with this child. When the pregnancy was 3 months. It was the same thing. He would sit on my stomach, hit me, try to strangle me and all that. Calling him out, he works with Channels TV. His name is Pius Iroja Angbo from Benue State.
Mommy, sorry.
Thank you. Just for you to know. I thought I got married to a fellow human being. Though I saw a paper where he wrote prayer requests. Even before he got married, I stumbled into that paper here. He wrote, thank God for saving him from hatred and abuse for women.
Do you want to wake up,
Obviously,
baby?
it's still on. You can see my face. It is all my soul.
All right, my audio is back. Again, I'm sorry for that. That was the narration from the person who experienced it herself. The story would have been taken differently if it was reported by the news or by someone else. But this is a lady who experienced it and took to the public domain to report what she has been going through. I don't think I've come across any video to debunk her narrative from the husband. I haven't. But if you're connected and probably you've come across any video that the husband has also pushed out there to debunk this narrative, you can let me have it, but I've searched and I'm still waiting. I haven't seen anyone. Now, he's an accessible person to the public domain. I'm talking about the husband because he's a public figure. And he works in a television house right there in Nigeria. So I want to believe that it should be as easy as anything to come out there almost immediately after this video went viral. Okay, but till now, I don't think I've seen anything. From what she said, they've been married for 6 years. And a few weeks ago, she just had her 4th baby. And according to this video and to her report, she said the reason why she received the beating that made her to speak out was she told the husband to stop spending lavishly on women. That is the primary reason, according to her. Stop spending lavishly on women, and she got the beating of her life. From also the video, you heard that she said why the pregnancy of her newly born baby was 3 months old. The husband sat on the tummy and gave her another round of beatings. And this was the last one that actually broke the camel's back. And she said I don't want to die. Let me just speak out. So she called out to the husband. And I hope there's nobody that is connected to this live stream who looks at things from another perspective. For example, like asking that we need to hear from the man to justify her story. The truth is that no matter what the story may be from the angle of the husband, no, she does not deserve to be beaten by her husband, no matter what she did. I hope everybody agrees with me. Let me check to see that we're on the same page. Yes, I'm actually saying that that we are reacting, so I appreciate that. Please, the number is scrolling as a title bar. Feel free to call in at any time to make your contribution. I'm trusting God that someone's relationship will be better after today's edition of my show. I'm also trusting God that someone will learn and see life from another perspective. And if there are relationships that are, that are trouble, there are squabblings, a lot of things going on, I also want to believe that you will be able to hold onto something after today's live stream that will help you build a better relationship with your partner. All right, so again, I welcome you. Now, I said earlier, and I will repeat again, no matter what she did or she said, she does not deserve to be beaten this way. And she said something that was so shocking to me when I heard that. It was almost unbelievable. She said shortly after the birth of her newborn baby, which was few weeks ago, the man sat, during this beating, the husband sat on her incisions. That is, she did a CS, a birth by operation, and it was the tummy on the incision where they cut her to bring out the baby that the husband sat to give her the beating of her life. It looks unbelievable, but unfortunately, it seems this is real. She's just a strong person. I want to assume that, let us look at it this way. What if she doesn't make it alive to report the assault? And she dies from the beating, from the pressure on her incision. What if she goes into coma, not able to talk? Few days later, she dies. Apart from the report from maybe people around, she will be gone, gone, gone. Okay? And in the end, don't let me deceive you, very soon the man will just go his separate way and start a new life. You saw when one of his kids came, the boy said, "Mommy, don't cry." And she also said that this beating was happening in the presence of the kids. Everything she said, I condemn the act, I condemn the reaction, I condemn, I believe there's nobody that is justifying anything here. It's terrible. The person who sent this to me on Instagram, a friend, do you know the first thing I asked her? I said, I hope this man is already in jail. That was the first question I asked. But unfortunately, we are in a society, a community right here in Nigeria, where we don't respect the law. We don't respect life. We don't respect human, freedom, liberty, and all those things. We are so oppressive. We are so because shortly after this incident, shortly after this video went viral, I saw pictures few days later of one of the governors in Nigeria, precisely Governor Autumn. Yeah, Governor Autumn, and a photo, and I saw the headline, he reconciled the couple. And that is one of the things we are going to be talking about here today. Is it enough to take to the public domain to pronounce reconciliation? I doubt if that meeting was intended for the reconciliation, because if it is a reconciliation over a very serious, brutal, and murder case likely a murder case incident, can you just come up, take pictures and say, we are done, you can rejoice with us? And I see posts of friends who are saying that they have reconciled. Don't put your mouth to mind your business. It's not right. For us to guide against, the continual death of victims of oppressors, victims of domestic violence, let's talk about it. Remember, please, you may be able to call in using the number on this screen. There are factors that could be responsible for a marriage that is breaking apart or that is separated. Reconciliation in this context is not referring to the physical separation. There are a lot of couples that are separated, but they still live under the same roof. So reconciliation and separation in this context, I'm talking about couples that are still together who go through issues. And though under the same roof, though still sleep in the same bed, but they have turned their back against each other. Also, by extension, we can also talk about, if time permits us, we can talk about those that are separated and how they can reconcile, by applying some professional interventions. You see, Nigeria society is a highly religious society. And as such, we often encourage as preachers, as, Christian counselors or teachers, Bible teachers, we often encourage people who go through domestic violence to pray more. This is very common. You are probably connected and you've experienced that you've reported this case probably to your religious organizations, your church, your mosque, and you are encouraged to keep praying. God will do it, this and this and that. No need to divorce, no need to go, go legal about it so that they can, all right. Once violence and marital fight get to a level, don't keep quiet over it for your safety. Once it gets to the level of this young lady, she said from the very beginning of the marriage, 6 years she has lived in abuse, enduring it. And this will be the first time she's taken to the public to report, to call her husband out over assault. And I am still shocked that this has not become a legal case yet. You may want to say, what's your own, if they reconcile and all those things. Reconciliation is not what you do just like that. A proper reconciliation of a troubled couple or marriage has to deal with internal feelings. If the underlying factors responsible for the assaults are not dealt with, forget about the reconciliation to change the headline of newspapers and television, shows, forget about those ones. Have you seen the photo? Let me show you the photo. That is governor, that's the governor. Now, let me pause it right here. Now, this is probably maybe the first pregnancy, I don't know when, but you could see life, here, you could see them catching fun together, okay? Now, she's a medical doctor, she said, and that's the husband. And this is the governor, that was the governor that was reported to have reconciled them. And this is the lovely family photo of this beautiful, adorable couple. Unfortunately, things have not been working. Along the line that they had the first baby, second baby, third baby, if she reported that it has been a troubled relationship all along, even while they laugh in front of the camera, you can see what has been happening to her. I therefore want to encourage, whether you are the wife or you are the husband, we have husbands who go through assault from their wives also. So it's not just a one-side thing. It's just that we have more for the women than for the men. So if you are going through any form of abuse in your relationships, please speak up for your safety. Don't put down your life to save your relationship. A relationship you will save in exchange for your life, you will never ever have that relationship. It means you are losing two things at the same time. What if you save your life and later on work on saving the relationships? I say this often on this platform. Don't put your life down for your marriage. Don't. In the face of assault, in the face of abuse, in the face of, all these things going on, don't sacrifice your life. Consider your babies, consider your loved ones. Now, if you listen while the video was playing, there was someone calling her Mama G, like telling her, don't do this. Don't do this. I believe you overheard that. You can actually play back later on to listen to the video again. At least as a background, at the ambience, we heard somebody down there saying, don't take. So you will definitely have a lot of people around you, most especially in the African community, saying, don't talk, saying, don't disgrace him, saying, you need to, you don't do things this way. And these counselors, don't put your life first. It is wrong. In any way you want to save yourself from an oppression, from abuse, I don't discourage you. I don't discourage you. However, how can you deal with your tough time marriage problem so it doesn't lead to assault or it doesn't lead to break up? It can happen. You will probably be going through some of these problems in your marriage. Number one, differences in personality. This could be a cause of marital problem. I've said over and over again on my platform videos that when you are getting married to someone that you have met just a few years ago. No matter how boldly you pronounce that you have known your spouse, sincerely, you can't know him enough. Some of the people who made up their mind to marry, at least they've had relationships whereby they put trust forward to say, okay, I trust him, I trust her, I can spend the rest of my life with this person. But along the line or down the line, this person suddenly just become a changed person. And that has to do with personality. There are some characters that your partner may have that may not surface because a trigger has not happened to bring it to the surface. He has been a loving person, a romantic man, a romantic woman, getting in touch, nice communication skill, very nice, and all of a sudden, you're married. And now, you give him A, he's giving you 0. And you're wondering that, oh, so this guy was pretending. He may not pretend, she may not pretend. The reason might be the personality difference that is triggered by, this cause and effect attitude that we all have. You may not know that your husband is extremely stingy until you decide to deal with money when you are married. That's exactly what I'm talking about. So, as such, to manage personality differences, you need to really be sure you are emotionally matured to give room for someone to become a better person, to be able to accommodate the other person. This is actually very essential. I know you may want to say, now, what are the things I can bear and what are the things I cannot bear? This is a question that is peculiar to individuals. I don't know what you have the ability to take from your partner. I don't know what you have the ability to cope with. But no matter what you are confronted with, I want to encourage that in marriage, there is need for you to give room, a very large room for someone to misbehave, in quotes, not to beat you. Misbehavior in this context is saying that you don't like people behaving this way, and that is you. By the time you're married and you're closer to your spouse, you now discover your spouse has that same attitude that you detest with perfect hatred. Okay? In that context, you won't say, man, what if? And you say, I'm getting out of this marriage. No. Now, you will now look at yourself. How can I live with this? Again, never try to force a change on your spouse. Take note. No matter the attitude, never try to force a change on the other person. Whether the person is your partner, whether you're engaged to be married, or you're just dating, or you're already married, or in any other relationships, you don't impose a change to your fellow human being and get the best out of that person. So one of the things that could lead to destroying a fantastic relationship that started very beautifully is when you don't give room to the other person, when you don't shift your ground for the other person to act himself or herself, and look at the way you will blend your differences together. Personality differences is a major factor that actually causes marital problem, but you can manage it, and that is exactly what I'm talking about. And that is one of the reasons why we are having this episode on this show. Did we get that? Can I get reactions from you? Can I get reactions from you over this? Okay. I can read your comments. He was to be sent to a correctional rehabilitated home, a rehabilitation home. I totally agree. He actually needs it. I must be sincere with you. I'm not trying to take side with the wife. It is abnormal that in certain conditions that could take the life of the wife away, yet here he was beating her up. Another comment, his attitude needs to be worked on, seriously. Another person says, first, this man has been assaulting women right from his single days. Wow. That is another revelation about the real nature of this man. And actually, do you know, Ini Udo, do you know what I would say? No one becomes an abuser overnight. The tendency is always there right from the beginning. Now, even when some people don't touch their spouses, when they don't assault, but they have attitude, it's common. We all have our different attitudes, okay? Our negative attitudes. We do have that. But to the level that Mr. Pius has gone to, he did not just become that within that 6 years or after he got married to them. He has been like that. This then begs the question that don't marry a stranger. Look beyond the appearance of the person you're getting married to. Appearance could be extremely deceptive. Someone who you are engaged with or you are dating who is, lavishing you with gifts, with sweet words, phone calls, and you are carried away. Those things are fantastic, but please don't base your final decision to marry a person based on those kind of gestures that may not really be real. Attitude holds a relationship more than gifts and any other thing. It is natural, even the Bible says that gifts can actually cause deception. Okay? I'm not discouraging gift giving, dating, outing, fantastic, you are lively and all those things. But in my opinion, as a trained therapist, those things are not enough to make you decide to marry this person, even when you have dated for a long time. You see, there is an adage in Yoruba land, I'm a Yoruba woman, that says that character is like smoke. No matter how you try to hide it, it will still flicker out. No matter how hard. You see, I don't know how long they did their courtship, but definitely, I am sure that noticed the traces of this assault in one way or the other. I understand that someone could actually, pretend so much, but if you're sensitive, there is no how. Okay? There's no how you won't notice that, oh, this person why was she violent in this place? Why was he violent in that place? Please be sensitive. Take note during courtship. What your partner may not say that you may notice. And immediately you notice traces of violence. I personally encourage that you prolong intentionally your courtship and go through therapy, go through counseling. Pre-wedding counseling is important. Okay? It's so important. And I give kudos to religious organizations who pay very close attention to premarital or pre-wedding counseling. Okay? On my platform, I thought you are aware I run a counseling platform, and it's down now for updates and all those things. Once we are back with it, we will be able to also take things like this, okay? Premarital or pre-wedding counseling. So if you are not doing it in any religious organization, what the service we offer in that regard is actually a professional one, unless you specially request to do it in my own religious way as a Christian. Of course, I'll preach the Bible and all those things, but professionally, we are trained along with my colleagues to manage things like that. So, okay. So let me see more reactions from you guys. Speak up. Yeah, speak up is that. And somebody is saying, please, ma, I hope that this woman won't die before her time. I hope so too, darling. I hope so. Sincerely, I hope so. Now, if he has been, this is the second person, apart from Ini, this is Lioness Oluwatosin reporting the same guy. This is the second person saying the guy has been like that even before the wedding. You see? Ladies, look beyond the surface. Look beyond your age, most especially beyond your age. It is better to remain single than to be in a marriage where you do not enjoy your life for just a day. The only thing is sex, you know, and food and all those things, because it's a marriage full of a lot of sex periods. Within the period of 6 years, they have 4 kids. It's okay, it might be their plan. But even in the midst of the assault, in the midst of the abuse, okay, they could still come together to have sex together as a couple. So I believe it's a marriage that is full of, you know, sex and all those things. So please take note. Number 2 factor that could possibly lead to a derogatory relationship or a promising relationship is unmet emotional needs. Unmet, E-U-N, the met, that is, emotional needs that are not met could lead to a marriage, a relationship falling apart. As a Christian, as a preacher, and at the same time as a counselor, I totally disagree with premarital sex. So if you are not married, the emotional needs in this regard is not sex. I need to clearly spell out my stand on that. It's not sex. Emotion is beyond sex. When you talk about emotional needs, when you don't check on your spouse is sick, you don't pay close attention to it, you are a nice lady, a nice guy to outsiders, you don't listen to each other, is an emotional distress. So it's not just sex. And if you're married legally, sex can also come under emotional needs. When your emotional needs are not met naturally, it makes a relationship to fall apart. No matter how wise, strong, or whatever that you are. A relationship where emotions are trampled upon, they really stand. They really stand. Show me a man who is starved sexually. Show me a lady who is either sexually abused or starved. And let me show you a marriage or a relationship that will never work. You may mention other things that this is the reason why this marriage is falling apart. This is the reason. There are a lot of underlying things that people are not talking about. According to Mrs. Pius, she's saying that she spends money on women. And that brings me to this point before I continue with the factors that could lead to the falling apart of good, promising relationships. We have talked about differences in personality. We've talked about unmet emotional needs. Now, that brings me to this point, before I go to the next one. Sorry, I lost my points. I'm sorry. I lost my points. Okay, let me continue. I'll be able to bring it back. All right, another factor is financial problems. Financial problems. It's a major factor that could plague a relationship. But no matter what the factor may be, friends, there is no factor that, no matter how tough it is, that gives license for assault or abuse. If this ladies counselor, why we don't professionally encourage our client to take decisions, absolutely, probably if not for the intervention of people like Governor Autumn and others, probably she would have filed, a lawsuit against the man. Sincerely. All right, so financial problem could also cause troubles in marriage. If you don't mind, you can check a video on my YouTube page where I recommended how to manage financial problems. It seems that it's a universal problem in all marriages, okay? It looks like a universal problem in all marriages that... Sorry about that ring. It will stop. All right, so it seems financial problem seems to be a universal factor in relationships. So whatever your own problem may be, even if it is finance, apply wisdom. Check my video on finance on YouTube, all right? And I believe it will really be able to help you. All right, another reason why people fight each other as married couples is built up anger or resentment. Things that have happened in the past, you bottle up, you don't talk about it, bottle up, you bottle up, and all of a sudden, the thing explodes into your faces, and everything is shattered, and it's difficult to put them together. When you are not okay with what your spouse is doing, early response intervention is advisable if that marriage must actually work. Don't say, I don't want trouble, I just want things to work, so I just decided to ignore it. No, talk about it to avoid a repeat. If you don't talk about it, he or she keeps repeating the same issue. And the repeat of that will bottle up a lot of things, and one day by the time you explode, there will be problems. Some people have seen themselves, they have seen their marriage slipping off their hands and doing what they never wanted to do, but because of bottled anger, bottled resentment, built up anger, down the line, it will just take them a day or just less than a minute to explode and overreact. So when you are not okay with what is going on, please, as a couple, sit down and talk together. And if you are married to someone who doesn't listen, at that point you need a marriage counselor or a therapist. Don't hire or don't use a counselor who doesn't really, who will only encourage you to endure it. That is how marriage is. It's not professional, it's not safe. Not even nowadays that a lot of people fall victim of assault, and a lot of them lose their lives. That is not the kind of counseling that will actually help you if you are going through assault. Another factor is, which is number 5, squabbling. I think somehow I mentioned squabbling already. Squabbling is the kind of noisy quarrel, okay, this happens, your kind of husband is probably your wife, the one that can shout and everybody will hear that you are talking and all those things. If it continues like that, it's not even safe, it's not okay, it's not mature at all. Doing whatever you're doing together as a couple in the presence of your innocent kids makes you a criminal in court, because these innocent kids, you are building them up with your attitude already. Sincerely, a lot of people who are having problems trusting in trust problem in their marriages today, a lot of them grew up seeing their parents fighting each other, and they have this kind of mindset, negative mindset about marriage or about the opposite sex. So please take your kids out of these things, or else you will not only affect the relationship, affect your partner, affect yourself, you will also drag the kids into it, and this is not okay at all. Again, if any of these, there are a lot. For example, if there is lack of trust in your relationship, absolutely, lack of trust is already like a bubble you've burst, a burst bubble in your relationship, okay? You burst the bubble of peace once there is lack of trust. Don't marry someone you don't trust enough. If you ask me the question that, what are the things I should look forward to seeing in someone before I marry him or her? Trust is a major factor. Marriage means I'm trusting you with my entire life. I'm trusting you with my body. I'm trusting you with everything. You're going to see my nakedness. It's a trust. This is how much I earn. It's a trust. These are the relationships I had in the past. It's a trust. So if you have a trust problem in your relationships and you are not married yet, give it a second, a third, a fifth, a 10th look before you walk down the aisle, before you tie the knot. And if you are already married and you have a trust issue, and you have every right to build up that, because there are a lot of things that have happened that you can actually hinge your reason for not trusting your partner. You can actually hinge it to one or two things that have happened. In that regard, I encourage that you talk to a counselor, a professional one. And let me say this concerning counselors. Your pastor is not necessarily a counselor. Your mom will not necessarily make a good counselor for you. Your dad will not necessarily make a good counselor for you. So that is the reason why I often encourage that if you are not meeting a professional counselor, then you should use a neutral person, someone who won't take side with you or your spouse. If you are always looking for someone, you're going for counseling, and you are always looking for someone who will tell you what you want to hear, of course you are deceiving yourself. You're deceiving yourself. Now, let's go to the word reconciliation. I believe by mentioning some of these factors, those tips I was given are the tips to use to manage if this is your own problem. I hope you carefully took note of that. But in general, reconciliation. Reconciliation means we want to settle our differences. Reconciliation means Mr. and Mrs. Pius who fought, they need to come together. And that will bring me again to the intervention of that governor. Wait, let me just show you that. Let me display the picture of the governor. All right. This brings me to this point right now. Now, the headline you've seen in this public thing is that they have reconciled. See the faces of the people that have reconciled. Okay? There are a lot to be talked about for her to be healed emotionally. Someone can just appear just like this man. Probably the role this man play is like a veto figure role. I had to coin that from this. If someone whom you cannot say no to comes to address the matter going on with you, between you and your spouse, and because you do not want to disrespect that person, you just say, okay, 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 and yet the case is not settled. Avoid that. Avoid that. Reconciliation is not when you come back under the same roof. Reconciliation is after coming under the same roof, there is peace. Things that used to cause problem in the relationship will no longer cause problem. It won't happen all of a sudden. You will grow into the level of peace in your relationship, most especially if you've had issues so much like this one. This marriage can still work so well if things are addressed the right way. Take note during your reconciliation period. Number one, don't use a familiar person to handle your reconciliation sessions. A familiar person is someone who has the possibility to take side with you or take side with your spouse. In fact, I discourage that your parents should be your primary counselor when you want to do during a period of reconciliation or to settle a very serious matter in your marriage, like this one. Okay, so this is, I do not know whether they had indoor discussions and all those things, but something that will heal the heart of a woman who has gone through assault for 6 years in the manner that she described. This is not how you settle it. This is just to retain the image of Mr. Pius, retain his job for him, and make some of us excited, and without thinking deeply beyond the surface. No reconciliation works this way. Somebody needs to talk to the woman, hear her side of the story, help her through to be able to forgive. She needs a period to forgive. She needs a period to heal. She needs a period to pardon herself. Believe ye me, if you know her and you talk to her, she's probably living in regret for getting married to Mr. Pius. She said it. I was able to deduce that, to get that from her statement. She said, I thought I was getting married to a normal human being like me. So that is a statement of regret already. Okay, so is this kind of a political reconciliation enough to actually heal this lady? I say no, 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 no. So another thing you can do during your reconciliation session is be sure you really want to reconcile. Be sure. Don't be forced into reconciling. If you can no longer cope, I said earlier, save yourself, not the relationship first. My fellow Christian may totally disagree with me on that point, that are you encouraging divorce or separation? If separation or divorce will not make you die, maybe you should go for it. If your life is at risk, whatever you can do to save yourself is advisable by every professional counselor, including myself. Okay? Please take note of that. I've given you 2 tips of what to consider during a period of reconciliation. I'm trying to see your contribution. Lionel says sex is not a yardstick for love. It doesn't even have, sex has nothing to do with love, though English calls it love making. But the kind of love we're talking about, which is compassion and passion, sex has nothing to do with that. We have people that could have sex 1 million times and yet there's no love in between. For example, sex workers, okay? It's just to feed, sex could be used to feed your emotional need without love being in between. Absolutely. Yes, such monster don't grow overnight. You are totally correct. Any comment from YouTube? I see people on YouTube, but no comments. Okay? Feel free to call in if it's convenient for you. And I hope you are learning something. Another thing you could do in the process of reconciliation, or another thing you should guard against during reconciliation, I said make up your mind that, okay, I want to do this. It's not that it's anybody that is forcing you into it. Is be ready to pay the price for healing and for restoration. Mrs. Pius wouldn't be healed probably in the next 1 year, 5 years, or whatever. Those kids, that memory is registered. To reformat their memory and repaint marriage to them will take some time. Sincerely, it will take a lot of damage has actually been done in this relationship. Again, it is still workable. And let me say this, don't endure. Don't try to say, what will people say? I brought a video that we reviewed together here of Mr. Sylvester in Orlando here in the United States, who was even pastoring a church. And the wife was going through this assault. She didn't speak up. It was the siblings that came. You know, they wanted to take the case to court, reported the case to police. The wife was still defending him. This man promised to kill the wife, and he did a few days later. He is behind bar right now, but he's alive. And the woman is gone, never to be back again. I pray this will not be your portion, but please guide against it. Don't be forced into the reconciliation. When you know that, oh, even when you've been taken through a session or some sessions of therapy and you are not still healed, just speak up that this is it. I don't see it working. Sincerely. Be so sincere. Be so sincere. If after beating you today, he prostrates on knees the next hour, it's okay. Be forgiven. But avoid the repeat of that thing. That is why you need a counselor to help you manage the situation if that is happening. So this is actually the reason why we have brought, I decided to review this particular true life story and not just movie. We see these things in movies and, you know, we often think it's because these are movies. And we have ladies saying that Mr. Pius has been this way. And it's unfortunate that an adorable lady like her has fallen into the hand of someone who don't want to care, but want to beat you, punch you, and all those things. Probably it's anger problem. Probably it's bewitchment, I'm sorry. But there's nobody who is promiscuous who will not have problem in his or her marriage. That is, you go about with women as a man, married man, you go about with men as married women. Know how that marriage will not have problems. When you are not ready to settle down with someone, why don't you just go on with that lifestyle so you don't drag somebody into that darkness? It's unfair. The woman you are dating outside your marriage wishes that he has you all her lifetime. So anything that will discourage you from paying a good attention to your wife at home is what she will do. So don't put yourself into this mess. Don't put the innocent spouse into all this mess. Marriage, let me be sincere with you, is actually for adults. You are not mature enough. After getting married, you sleep around and bring problems to your spouse. Some people, for sleeping around, they will even bring SDT to their spouse and make him or her innocently contract it. It's unfair. It's unfair, and it's unfortunate that we have good people out there, and in the midst of having good people out there, there are a lot of bad people. I pray you won't fall into the hands of those bad people, okay? So that is it for today. Don't let me take much of your time, and I hope you are able to gain something here, okay? If you are still connected, please, I hope you were, I need your confirmation. I hope you were able to gain something. Definitely, I trust that you were able to get something. And now, let me pass this information across before I leave. At times, we need to ask ourselves that where can we meet a trusted spouse? Some of you met your spouse in a club. Some of you met your spouse in your religious homes. Some of you met your spouse at work. Now, where you meet your spouse also has the tendency to affect the marriage, sincerely. There is an adage in Yoruba that says, if you meet your spouse in a dancing hall, he's probably going to, be trapped with dancing. But it's not always the case. There are a lot of good people you meet in a dancing hall who will not, fall into the hands of someone who is dancing and, to affect the relationship negatively. As such, if you are trusting God for a partner, know where you are looking at. At times, you may just walk into each other. At times, it may be that someone is the one introducing your spouse to you. Okay? If I wake up today to introduce someone to you that, I know you, I know this guy, why don't you, think about it, pray about it, look into it, and, it may work, who knows? If I do that, and I can actually do that, if I do that, don't base your decision on me only. Make your investigation. I am not going to stay in that marriage with you, and I won't be in the best position to determine whether the marriage will work. I've just made a recommendation. Okay? So no matter who is recommending someone to you to marry, don't just base that, I trust him, I trust her, so for him to have recommended this person to me, it means he knows that this person is nice. Character, personality differences has nothing to do with recommendation. When you start seeing things coming up, okay? So please give it a second look, no matter who is making the recommendation, and be sure it can work. Don't try to say, okay, I'm trying to get the English I will use. Don't fit in Jukaro. I said it in Yoruba, Don't try to please someone or not to disagree with someone's suggestions, and you now make you now make a decision that is not safe for you. No, it's not okay. So please be very, very, very careful. Okay, no matter who is making the suggestion. So let me be leaving you today. I'll let you know when next I'll be coming live. Thank you so much for being a part of this. If you have a question, either you want to call in on WhatsApp, that number, you don't have to call direct, it's on WhatsApp. In fact, I'm not expecting you to call direct. Why now? So that I don't burn all your data if you are not in my country. Any question? Let me wait a little bit. Don't endure or stay because of what people will say. Yes. Please don't. Can I slide into your DM after the live program? I'll be entering another session, but not live, okay? I'll be entering an online counseling meeting shortly after I leave, so it may not be immediately, okay? So, but just take note of the number. Even though I don't respond immediately, I will definitely respond later. Another comment from Lioness, he says, I just hope that this won't be the issue of this Ofori Ghanaian American pastor. Exactly, that's Sylvester, right? It looks like it. It may not be an exact thing, but it sincerely looks like it. Trying to endure. I've also told you on this show before that maybe in like 2004, a young man right there in Nigeria who also stabbed the wife to death. And the parents actually knew something was going wrong, but she wasn't coming forth to say she was trying to keep her home safe and all those things. She was eventually stabbed to death, and the man was actually also murdered by hanging. She was found guilty and murdered also. All right, so thank you so much. Let me pray with you before we go. Let me pray with you. Prayer is good as believers, okay? And as you pray, let work be attached to your prayer. As you look forward to meeting the man or the woman of your dream, I encourage you put everything in prayer and trust God, because he's the one that knows the things that you don't have access to as individual, the things beyond, the surface, okay? As you pray, apply work. Don't use prayer to overlook and hoping that the red flag you detect during courtship maybe this person will change in marriage. You don't have the ability to change anyone. Don't hope for a change. If it is a very sensitive case, aggression, inclusive, abuse inclusive. Somebody doesn't have to beat you before the person abuses you. Abuse could be, I posted, was it yesterday? Abuse could be like shouting at you, disrespecting you, not even recognizing your opinion in a relationship, a mutual relationship that you're supposed to mutually benefit from and mutually make your contribution. Those are abuses. It doesn't have to be the punching and the beating, just like the wrestler, Mr. Pius, has been doing with his wife, who has converted his wife to a punching bag. I'll be very disappointed at Channels Television if they don't take up this case, and with ladies attesting to it here that he has been like that. Okay? I pray it's well. All right, so let me pray with you guys so that we'll just call it a day. I'll be seeing you some other time. Please, so share this video. Please, I need the WhatsApp number. Yeah, it's scrolling. That's the WhatsApp number scrolling. It's add +1 443 979 1704. Make sure you add +1. It's scrolling. You can see it here. Yes, the bar. You can see it scrolling right there. All right. Thank you for loving this, Havila. Thank you. You can help me to share, Obiko. Share. Let someone also be enlightened. Thank you. I'm happy, Titi, that you are blessed. Father, I thank you for this opportunity you've given to us to learn and become better people. Thank you. I bless you because Mrs. Pius is still alive to tell her story. And I thank you because your mercy will speak for her and her family, and you will intervene. I thank you for everyone connected. I thank you because somehow I believe we have become more enlightened to make marital decisions so that we won't become victims. Let your name be exalted in Jesus' name. I commit everyone into your hand as they go, Lord. I pray for safety. I pray for grace. I pray for undiluted discretion to take the right decision. And I cover you all and all yours with the blood of Jesus. Thank you because you have heard us, O Lord. In Jesus' mighty name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. I'll be seeing you some other time. Like this show, please. If you are on YouTube, subscribe to my channel. I'm trying to push my my YouTube channel. Please do me that favor. Don't pay me, but do me that favor. Help to push my my YouTube channel. So let me just share my YouTube page with you. Okay, I'll share this program on Facebook so that you can follow that, and please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Yeah, that's the program. Okay, so if you follow that, you'll be able to have access to my channel. All right, thank you, and have a blessed night rest.